My name is Janice McCoy, and I am an interdisciplinary artist and printmaker. We are at the Flint Institute of Arts, which is the second largest museum in Michigan with the third largest community school in the United States. Right now, I'm about to operate this machine to create some block prints using a linoleum block. So this is something I've printed before. It says, "Say nice things about Flint." For context, this machine, while it can print this, was not made for this. So this was made in 1949 for the purpose of proofing movable text layouts. So things like newspaper layouts or pamphlets or anything printed material. Printers would compose this using movable letters, and then they would set it up here as a first test. So then it would be taken off, looked at, proofed, and then they would send it to a bigger machine if it was approved for production. There are 6 rollers on here. So if you look, there's rubber ones, and there's 3 metal ones, and then actually 7. There's 2 here. So all these rub against each other. This one is the ink distributor roller, so that's where I'm going to apply the ink to. But they all rub against each other, so that spreads the ink throughout the whole entire plate. So the way this works is it's all hand inked. So I applied the ink by hand, and it's all hand driven, so there's no motor, which is actually really nice because we don't have to worry about replacing complex and old mechanical parts. It's also safer for a student environment. So you can see the machine's in trip right now, which is essentially neutral if you compare it to a car. And that allows me to distribute the ink back and forth on the block, get it primed and ready, without drawing an impression. So if I had the press in print or drive, it's going to lower all this incrementally, and then it's going to put an impression on whatever is on this cylinder. So with paper, that's great. With the materials on here, it's not. So I put some plexi on here so it can be easily cleaned. If this plastic wasn't here, I would have to remove all this packing and reset this press completely. So throw it into print, and then there's these really small discs here that you guys might be able to see. And right now they're up, which allows me to push this paper underneath. There's also a guide right here that stops the paper. So if I were to need something that was really tightly registered and had very precise borders, this moves back and forth to allow me to do that. And so the motion of printing is I slide these under the discs, and then I'm going to move forward with the right side of my body and also simultaneously push this forward until the discs grab the paper. And then the machine does the rest. There's a little bit more pressure needed here. Relief printing is essentially just giant stamps. So whether it's rubber, linoleum, or wood, you're carving material away that you don't want ink on, so anywhere where you want the paper to be the highlight. And then the remainder of the matrix is what forms the image or the text. While printmaking is one of the most accessible mediums for artists and for collectors, it's also extremely inaccessible because of the need to have equipment to make the prints. And one of the only methods of printing that requires a lower amount of pressure to be done without a press is relief. So lino cuts, wood cuts, or rubber. Yeah, I mean, it's a time-consuming process. One of my former professors who's a painter, he told me once, he's like, printmaking is for people who take something simple like drawing and make it like 1,000 times more complicated. So earlier I was talking to you guys about when I took printmaking at UM-Flint, and this is the print that I was talking about. This one, I felt like I hit a groove, and I really liked the marks that I was able to make. I liked the composition. I created this imagery based off of the life cycle of a cicada because I was really interested in insects at the time, and they still kind of follow me around. I mean, so we got that. But that was, I feel like, a very important work because I was like, okay, this is not so bad. When I teach, I always teach rubber, which is the softest material, and the one people who are interested in printmaking kind of know the most, like making your own sort of stamps. It's very cheap. And then we move on to linoleum, which is my personal favorite. It's a material that came from commercial flooring linoleum. No longer is anything like it. It's more like commercial linoleum for flooring is more like plastic now. But it's essentially compressed sawdust and oil. It's got this fuzzy backing and duct tape if you puncture holes in it. And it's just a really nice material because it holds fine detail. There's no grain like wood. I like it a lot better than rubber because it's a little bit harder, so there's more control. And then wood is also very appealing. Depending on the wood that you have, there's a grain pattern to it, so you can either struggle with that or use it to your advantage. This is a nice Sheena plywood that has a minimal grain to it. And then I have some letterpress letters here because the ink method application is the same, so it's part of the Relief family too. If you look at this rubber plate, you can see that they're reversed, which I was talking about earlier. So thinking backwards is important, especially if there is text, because it will be backwards if you don't plan for that. But also, if you really like a composition, you have to consider that too, because it's going to look different if you don't think about that before you print. But it's a really good method of communication because of its multiplicity. So if you make, like a singular painting or a singular sculpture, it's more valuable to you. You spend a lot of time making this singular object, and you're less able and willing to share that with other people. Works on paper, but printmaking in particular, are generally more low cost to produce, and I think you hold on to each one a little bit less tightly. So I give prints away a lot, and I feel usually no sort of guilt or loss when I do that. I sell a lot of my prints for under $100. So everyday people can buy them, and I think everyday people should be able to buy art.
Is there a British accent in there somewhere?
Thanks. It was Maddie's best in town.
It's only
We put Maddie on the spot so that she can't get an actual good impression out.
I don't have a good impression. I don't think I have a good impression of any accent ever.
But also now
I can only
that I
do
can't
Maddie.
make Gabe nervous, you do hold a camera really steady. I was looking at you and you didn't if that had been me, I would have been like.